Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Berner. Your Thursday's DRFBets race of the day is part of a triple pick six carryover at Aqueduct. It's race number 5 and it also kicks off the late pick 4. Bet those bets with a DRFBets account. You sign up at bets.drf.com and you receive a 300% deposit match. Let's meet the field of 2-year-olds going 1 1/8 miles. Race number 5 at Aqueduct on Thursday. 2 for Chad Brown, 2 for Todd Pletcher. You can download free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Access them, handicap along with us. We'll take the field in post position order, beginning with the 2 Chads. Down towards the rail, Matt's the number 1 Will Dancer. This is a half to not a cat but a llama. Multiple grade 3 stakes winner. Mostly a turf horse, but did okay on dirt. I thought this horse ran okay with some trouble in the debut at Saratoga, and last time out I was a little bit disappointed. Wonder if that's the reason that there's been a layoff recently. Don't like that 2-month gap coming into this race.
Yeah, it got to be a little bit of a concern. Now, admittedly, that most recent run, I thought there was a pretty solid enough heat. King for a Day came back and earned an 82. I believe that was in the Kentucky Jockey Club down at Churchill Downs. You had a next out winner with an 86, a next out winner with a 75. But you're right, you shouldn't be losing by 14 lengths. You brought up the pedigree, and I mean, I feel like every time we see Will Take Charge, I keep saying this, there happens to be turf on the bottom, and he's done okay with that. At some point, I'd like to see this horse on the grass.
That's a very good point, especially with, as you mentioned, with Not a Cat But a Llama. But the dam was stakes place sprinting on the dirt, and another sibling, half sibling to Will Dancer, was also stakes place sprinting on the dirt. Chad's going to give this horse every chance to be a dirt horse because that's where the money is. A nice inside post with some tactical speed, as you mentioned. Will Dancer, probably the better priced of the 2 Chad-trained horses. Motagali is the number 2. This is a son of Union Rags, also trying 2 turns for the first time. A lot of speed on the bottom of this pedigree. Dam, a graded stakes winner sprinting. Chad's hoping maybe this Union Rags sort of replicates itself going a distance of ground.
Yeah, this would be first time going 2 turns. I didn't think the second race was terrible, but you run into Ehrlich, who got the better of you by a pretty solid margin, by 3 lengths in that day. Ehrlich was a pretty solid price, too. So there's a part of me that does wonder a little bit about Motagali. At the end of the day, I'm curious about all the horses that exit that September 23rd race at Belmont Park, because I understand Vacoma is really nice, and Epic Dreamer is nice, and the 3rd place finisher was the next out winner. But are the horses exiting that, the also-rans, are they being a little bit overrated? I guess that's the only thing that I would throw out there. We'll find out. Who knows? Perhaps this horse is going to show that 1 1/8 is to his liking. I'm going to be against him a little bit.
The number 3, Lisbon, has already raced around 2 turns, but that race, his career debut, was on the turf. And I wonder if Mark Casse just wanted to get this horse to run long, because when you look at this pedigree, there's a lot of dirt here. By Quality Road, the dam was a stakes winner routing on the dirt. The 2nd dam was a stakes winner at 1 mile at Aqueduct going a 1-turn mile. The 4th dam was actually the champion 2-year-old filly way back when. So there's a lot of dirt here. I thought this colt ran okay in the turf debut, and maybe he's just waiting to go even longer. 1 1/8 miles he gets on Friday.
I liked that debut a lot. I thought he would have won that race had he not gotten pinched or in so tight there down the stretch. He was wide throughout, and the fact that he, look, for the final 16th of a mile, more or less, Rosario couldn't ride him because there was nowhere to go. I thought it was a promising enough effort. I think this is one that can certainly take a step forward here. And I guess the good news is, even if the pedigree suggests dirt, and let's just say he doesn't take to it for some reason, you're probably going to have a very nice turf horse based on that career debut. I think he's interesting. I don't like the move from Mark Casse. You go into formulator, past 5 years, turf to dirt, 2nd-time starters. He's only 2 for 32 with a 64-cent ROI. So this isn't a typical move, but I'm going to lean more toward what your sort of argument was, that perhaps they just wanted to get 2 turns into him because they think distance is his friend.
Dam's first foal was a graded stakes-placed runner on turf in Japan, so a little bit of quality she's thrown thus far on the turf surface. Nice mixture with the dirt in the bottom of the pedigree as well. Ehrlich is the 4, another horse with a good pedigree. By Curlin, the dam was a multiple stakes-placed runner at 2 and a versatile one at that. This one ran okay last time out when cut back to a 1-turn mile, finishing ahead of Motagali. Not sure if I love that field.
I was going to say, we're getting back to 2 turns now. We'll find out if that's to this one's liking. At face value, that shouldn't be a problem, but can't help but notice that run 2 starts back at Keeneland just didn't end up really factoring in the very end of it. I guess I'm just kind of what you said. I'm not sure what I want to do with that November 10th race from Aqueduct. I kind of want to be against both of these horses at shorter prices, recognizing that they can both win. If you're playing the pick 6, you probably have to use them defensively. But to be honest with you, I'm just kind of against both of them.
The 5 is Southern Phantom. This is a full brother to Stronger, who has stakes placed going a 1-turn mile at Gulfstream Park. This horse was listed as a vet scratch on December the 1st, which worries me. He's also has to stretch out from 6 furlongs to 1 1/8 while moving from turf to dirt. He finished ahead of Will Dancer in that King for a Day Stakes 2 starts back, and then was in against subsequent Champagne winner Complexity 3 back. So he's faced some good horses, but there are some question marks.
Yeah, I was going to say, based on his paper right now, I don't love his chances. I think the only thing that you'll know right now, I know the blinkers are on, but you should be able to spot him from a mile away, because I believe he is the horse that his entire head is basically white.
The number 6, Stilts, has a very strong turf pedigree. He's a half to the multiple stakes winning turf performer Offering Plan. Last time out, Lasix was on. It was a race that was reined off of the turf course, and he kind of finished 1 pace. Now, maybe distance will be okay for him. I wonder if he's a turf horse in waiting.
Yeah, I have turf written in there already, where you, like you say, you have to Offering Plan. The Bodemeisters are usually okay. Empire Maker there as well. He's going to need to improve, certainly, if he's going to be a threat in here. He was no match for Moretti, who we'll talk about here in a moment. He just needs to up his game if he's going to be a threat here.
Let's throw up the Timeform U.S. pace projector for this race. We do expect the 4 Ehrlich to be forwardly placed. He was a pace presser last time out. Will Dancer probably going to take advantage of that inside post to be close to the pace as well. But we also see the 7, Moretti, the morning line favorite and the horse to beat, in a prime position according to Timeform U.S. And listen, this horse sold for $900,000 for a reason. He's a half to Battle of Midway, the winner of the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. The Dam was a Grade 1 stakes winner as a 2-year-old filly going long. Moretti ran, I thought, quite well in his career debut, and distance should be his friend.
Yeah, it should be at face value for all the reasons that you brought up. I looked at this horse and said initially, I just kind of want to be against him. But I went back and watched the tape again, and I actually kind of liked what he did. I thought he was a little bit green early on, didn't really find his position till maybe midway up the backside. And then going into the far turn, he didn't have to steady, but he got shuffled a little bit when he was up in behind the pace setter. Thought he lost a little bit of ground there. Velasquez got the bat out on him as they're rounding the far turn. And I thought he just kind of ran a little bit in spots. To me, he was a little bit on the green side. I think based on the pedigree, based on the fact that Johnny V is back. Look, he's in Florida on Wednesday. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but I think you have to factor that in. He's a 2-year-old. They paid a boatload of money for him. I think he might be okay. I think that was a good educational debut. I think he takes a step forward here.
Moretti, trained by Pletcher. Next door neighbor, the 8 Classic Romeo, also trained by Todd. I thought this horse caught a tough spot in his debut, going 7 on a wet track. 7 always a difficult debut distance. The runner-up came out of that race to graduate with a rock-solid 85 Beyer speed figure. Didn't do much running, kind of dead on the board. I wonder if the reason they're stretching him out is because they kind of think he's a plotter.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. And like you said, the Dam was a stakes winner and ran into a pretty good group there that first time out as well. The runner-up came back next out winner with an 85, third place a 75. Got out of the gate a little bit on the sluggish side. Maybe this is going to be an instance where if this thing turns into just a stagger fest or a stamina fest, he'll be right there.
And really not much to say about the outside horse, the number 9, Bridge to the Future, who's already started 7 times, has yet to hit the board, and has been well beaten in many of those races.
You know, I suppose the only other thing I can throw out there is first time 2 turns on dirt, so maybe that'll wake him up, but on paper he's hard to recommend.
Let's take a look at our top selections for race number 5, kicking off the late pick 4 at Aqueduct on Friday, part of the triple carryover in the pick 6. Moretti Way, the horse to beat, a horse you have to use in those aforementioned wagers. He's going to be real tough in here, sitting just off the pace.
Yeah, and look, it's not a brilliant opinion, but I just think that there's a real scenario where he does take a step forward. He's already arguably the fastest horse in the race. He's got the connections. The Johnny V piece is kind of sticking out to me. And again, if you're looking at it from a pick 6 standpoint like I am, already have an eye on Thursday, to me, there's 2 ways in this race. It's Moretti and it's Lisbon, and I think Lisbon is the one that I'm a little bit more intrigued with from a price standpoint, because I do think you might get a square number on him, and I think visually he's been the most impressive of all the horses so far in what he's done on the track.
I agree with you. That's why I take a slight stab with Lisbon over Moretti. Those are my 2 in the multiple race wagers as well. Again, hoping maybe Lisbon takes a slight step forward on dirt. It'll be interesting to see where he'll be placed in the early portion of this race. I don't want him to be outrun early, and I don't want him to be far behind with too much ground to make up on a horse like Moretti. Give me numbers. I'm going 3-7-4-2.
Yeah, I went 7-3-2-4.
Race number 5 at Aqueduct, part of a really intriguing Friday card. Bet it with a DRFBets account. You receive a 300% deposit match when signing up at bets.drf.com. An approximate post time for race number 5 at Aqueduct on Friday, 2:47 Eastern. Good luck.